welcome back to another episode of Pretty Suited Podcast. I am your host, Lauren A. And I know I'm not even going to gaslight you into thinking that you are crazy. I have not recorded for a very long time, so please forgive me as I get reacclimated to this. In the words of my good sis Dominique, my God, today, summer 2025 has been a summer. Okay. At the start of the summer, we all had this idea that we wanted to recreate summer 2016. And if you were a millennial, nice young millennial like me, you understand that summer 2016 was that summer. If you know, you know. Okay. I've had a couple of episodes here and there. Thank you guys for supporting Pretty Suited Reactions as I talk about different music and, things that I'm interested in, right? As I talk about music, because I'm a music buff and I'm going to continue doing that series. However, I have not been dedicating any time to just chit-chatting with you guys, right? So let's just do a quick recap of the summer. For me, in my household, I was outside. I was able to go travel a bit. I went to Charlotte. I got a chance to see Chrisette Michele in Charlotte. It was just one of those weekends where I was like, okay, let me just do something. Let me get out to the city of Atlanta and just do something for a quick little getaway. I actually want to apologize. I want to apologize to Chrisette Michele right here and right now, because I had her messed up. I knew she was a star. I was a avid fan back in high school, a couple of forevers, and think I'm just about over being your girlfriend. Like, that was my jam. Had no idea about the heart rate she was talking about, but they were my jam. And so when I got a chance to see her in Charlotte, I really was like, oh, we were playing. Like, she went and she did something that a lot of people didn't agree with. She went and she sang for Trump for his first inauguration. And people were just like, well, how dare you? Right? It was a moment where people thought she sold out. And she received a lot of backlash and unfortunately, was canceled a little bit because of that. But the way you guys give grace to Nelly and Snoop Dogg and all these other people who have, been a part of his campaign and any kind of political stances that you may or may not agree with, you guys gave them hella grace. But for her, you guys did not. And unfortunately, her career suffered from it. And I don't think that's right. I think it's been enough years. She really hadn't stood on business with that. And, just kind of continue to do her thing. But her voice, guys, I just want to emphasize her voice is absolutely amazing. She was scatting, doing some kind of jazz renditions of her songs. She was a great performer. And honestly, she deserves to be in somebody's hall, in somebody's theater, really showcasing her talent. She needs to be on and doing movie scores. I'm talking about really. Y'all think I'm over exaggerating, but the girl did her thing. So that was a highlight, definitely, of the beginning of my summer, was just that trip, going to farms. They had me at different kind of outdoor events. It was just great. So outside of Chrisette Michele, I did also see the Clips. Y'all know I'm a big fan of the Clips. I actually did a video not too long ago about their Chains and Whips video that they came out with on their latest album, Let God Sort Them Out. I have been bumping that album since it came out. It has been on repeat. And so outside of just playing the album, I said, you know what? I got to see these people in concert. I have been listening to them, of course, since the Grindr days. So I said, they coming to Atlanta. I got to go see them. Y'all, that concert was amazing. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. They're still on tour right now. So if you are a fan and you have not been to their concert, please grab one of those cities, go to one of those cities and attend, because it was really, really good. Just kind of the energy in there. They didn't do many old school songs. They did do some songs from Lord Willing, but they did pretty much the whole Let God Sort Them Out album. And I knew every word. I was in there like harder than the men. I was in there like really just going off. So, and I know Pusha saw me. I know I was right there in his face. I know he saw me. I know he saw me going hard, and he gave me a little head nod. It might have been a fantasy. I don't know, but I think it was real, and I'm gonna take that with me. And who gonna stop me? Who gonna whip me? So yeah, I enjoyed that. I was doing that. What else? I do plan to go see Leon Thomas in concert too. I was gonna go see Breezy, but I did see him last year for 11/11, so I was like, I think I might skip it. But I heard it was a really, really great show. So concerts, eating good, traveling. I've really been outside and working. Let me not get it twisted. I have been working 2 jobs, okay? And so summer's coming to an end after Labor Day, and we really are just going to start to slow down, so that will allow the creative juices to flow again, I feel like. So outside of just recapping and getting reacquainted with you guys, I really want to talk about giving yourself credit. Giving yourself credit for just everything. We often think that humility equates to, being a good person. And some aspects it is. I'm not saying that you gotta be like, yeah, I did that. Look, watch. I did that. No, I'm not saying be boisterous about it. I'm not saying be, arrogant or obnoxious about it. But what I'm saying is that, and I'm also not even saying that you have to do something for the sake of praise. But I do feel like the praise of other people, no. But the praise of yourself, sure. Being able to give yourself the praise that you want to have, I think is just as important as external validation. And so I say that to say, because I saw a clip, because we got to talk about music in some kind of way, and pop culture in some kind of way. I did see a clip that was floating around. Now, Eve has been on a book tour promoting her new book, and she's been hitting several of the podcasts that I actually enjoy listening to. And of course, once you get into the algorithm, now that's all you see, right? So she's been hitting Angie Martinez. She has been hitting, Complex, all the places. And she also stopped by Billboard and just kind of went over her catalog. And when I tell you that you totally forget what Eve contributed to the female hip hop game. I think she came in, ran things in a male dominated space, especially in a male dominated group of the Rough Riders, right? And then she kind of transformed and kind of crossed over a little bit into the pop sector. And then she just dipped. She just dipped. She dipped out. She got a husband. She, married a very wealthy husband. Moved over to England and just said, peace out. She didn't stick around for the rap girly era, the, sex talk era. She didn't stick around for that. So when she kind of just popped up during the pandemic to do the verses, I was like, is that Eve? Like, Pitbull in the skirt? Is that Eve? So I was excited to see her return. And so now she's been on tour with, I want to say, Nelly and Chingy and things like that. She's kind of just been dipping her foot back into the music space. Again, and I totally glossed over her whole TV and film career that she really kind of just made her dip out, and her clothing brand, because I had me a pair of fetish jeans, okay? But anyway, and they were talking about, how she did not receive any credit for the first song that she was on. She's a Philly girl. She was on The Roots' You Got Me.
How big in your story is You Got Me?
It was a big deal. I was on that record and I did not get credited on that record. That time, no one knew me. I was Eve, the girl from Philly with the blonde hair that rapped, that used to hang out in the studio. Let's put her on the record.
It was the first time we heard Eve.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to remember. So that's the first time.
Literally.
And then What You Want is like a year later or something like that?
Yes. When I did that record, I had no label, nothing.
If you don't have a lawyer, they don't have to clear it.
They don't have to call you. They ain't got. Yes. So shout out to Questlove. I just did his podcast. It was the first time we ever had a conversation ever. I've known him since I was 14, 15. Besides, what's up? Literally, what he says is that it was just his communication was off at that time, and I will take it. He is my brother.
Throughout the years, I kind of thought that it was her because Eve has a very distinct voice. So you kind of think that is her, especially a Philly girl. But I never really put 2 and 2 together until that video. And I was like, oh, snap. That was Eve. And Eve was on that part, just doing, she had a little rap part. And apparently, of course, Erykah Badu was singing like the hook. And, Jill Scott had a hand in it. It was just a lot of things to kind of make that song just so amazing, right? It was the Roots' like first big song. And they won a Grammy for it. Now, here comes the twist. Not only did Eve not receive much credit for her being a part of the song, but she did not receive that Grammy. The Roots and Erykah Badu went up there and they shout out Philly, shout out all the team and all the things. But Eve was not a part of that conversation, and she never received the Grammy. Of course, if it has to do with who's listed on the song, actual credit, and all the things. And so when she said that, she said it in like a lighthearted way that was kind of like, yeah, they didn't do it, and I just didn't know, I was young. But then you could tell just she had a tinge of like, yeah, I'm still a little salty about that. Like, I could have had my Grammy before, you know what I'm saying? Before all of the Gwen Stefani and all that era. Even though you see that little tinge in her eye, she just was very classy in her response and really didn't shame them for that, but more so just thought of it as a learning opportunity that she, took with her moving forward. But what I took from that conversation was, give me my credit. Point blank, period. Give me my credit. I think that her contribution to that song, of course, made that song what it was too, along with the legendary Roots and Erykah and Jill. But there are moments when, you're a part of something that is bigger than yourself, and you may not receive the credit that you want to. But I feel like us as women, especially particularly Black women, we often get overlooked and undercredited for the wondrous works that we do. And it's unfortunate. I think it's very unfortunate, especially when it comes down to us doing it for the sake of just being meek and being grateful to be there. And while you should be able to be a fly on the wall and, take experiences for what they are and just to make you a better person, all that good stuff, I don't think that's just right. And I think that, to kind of set the tone, to kind of change the narrative of how we have treated each other in this community, we have to be able to show each other love for us coming together and doing good things. We have to be able to, pat each other on the back and not let ego stand in the way of us really being a community. I think that the same concept can go in many different sectors, not just music. You can be in a corporate space. You can be in a, on a team in athletics, what all the things. There's no I in team. So I'm not saying that you have to, everybody deserves a participation trophy, but if I participated, give me my trophy. I'm just saying. Am I wrong? I mean, let me know if I'm wrong. But I just didn't like the way that was done. But again, I think that she took from that situation the experience to say that's not going to happen again. And move forward, she just moved differently. So that way, she could get the credit for the work that she did. And it was a lesson for me too, that I feel like, I do a lot of, behind the scenes publishing, behind the scenes writing, and whether you are giving yourself credit through metadata or citing yourself as a reference or whatever the case may be, I feel like it's important for you to pat yourself on the back for the hard work that you put into things, and also assert yourself to get the respect that you do deserve for the work that you're putting towards something. So, and then also too, if I'm working with a team, that I'm going to do my best to make sure that people are compensated and credited for the work that they're doing too. Another topic I want to quickly talk about is somebody said that I was a red flag recently. I don't like that. I don't know how I feel about that. And let me tell you why they said I was a red flag. They said I was a red flag because I am in my 30s and I don't have any children. So this has been a topic of conversation across my timeline, even here and there, just about, the fact that men and women choose not to have kids in their 30s. And is that a good thing or a bad thing? People are just always going to find a way to blame or project or deflect something that they're not a part of. And so whether you are a person with a kid and you are projecting your insecurity about having a kid onto those who don't have kids, or you are a person who doesn't have kids and you're projecting the fact that you don't have a kid onto those who do have kids, it's just always going to be a tug of war of who got what and who's the victim and who is the victor. And it's just annoying. It's just annoying that that's been our spaces just in modern times. Like, we really just can't just go. Let's just go back to MySpace. If you're with me, what's his name? The dude who was the first friend on MySpace. Where is he? Where is he at? We need to bring MySpace back, because I really do feel that times were much simpler. Conversations were much simpler on MySpace. We just worried about our coding and our glitter and our song that we had on the page and who was the top 8. That's all we cared about. That was the highlight of our day. And now, unfortunately, today we're talking about you deciding to not have kids in your 30s because you're not in the position to do so. If I was in a position to have kids, I might have done so. Husband, great career, house, home, all the things that you would like to have before you have a kid. But if those things aren't in place, you making the conscious decision to say, hey, I'm not going to have children until those things are in place. Now I'm a bad person. Okay. You win. You got it. But I just want you to check this clip out and just tell me what you think.
Meeting guys in their 30s with no kids is actually one of the biggest green flags for me. I responded, actually, that might be a red flag. Once they get to a certain age, they might be master manipulators or scared of commitment. Them niggas is the ultra players. Them niggas have created cemeteries of broken hearts and women, broken relationships. As soon as they got too close, nope, I'm out of here. Because what else have you been doing for the last 20 years?
What that shows to me, or what that would say to me as a woman, is that you have discernment, that you are not the type of person that is like quick to just, you don't jump into things that last a lifetime fast, that you will probably take your time and you really vet situations, or you probably have dated people that you realize that there's no real longevity in this, and then you'll be willing to like go and start over with somebody else. I think that's a better flex.
If you are living your life and you are deciding to bring the gift of life into the world, then do that. If you are deciding to not bring another person in the world, just based off whatever reason, that's fine too. I kind of straddle the fence on this kind of like opinion, because there is a clear difference between what's good and what's bad, right? But then at the same time, what's good for me is not good for you, and what's bad for me is not what's bad for you. So if I'm not particularly harming anyone, or if it's not to the detriment of my life, then I say, please keep your nose out of other people's uteruses. Thank you. Please and thank you. Same thing for men. Please get your nose out of people's boxers. Thank you. Oftentimes, you don't even consider if the person is able to have kids, whether male or female. But I just thought that it was an interesting topic, because it seems to just be flooding my timeline now. Who's having kids? Who's not? Who made the right decision? Who didn't? I don't know. I just don't know. I will say this. I'm going to take the rest of this year and I am going to start thinking about what it is I would like to remove from my life and what it is that I want to gain in my life. I think that we have hit a precipice of just hot foolishness when it comes down to like worldly events, right? So from our own country, our own president, our own politics, our own, whatever, even just embarking on almost war with other countries and stuff like that, the economy, all the things. I feel like the summer kind of made people feel like we have got to have a good time before stuff really hits the fan. And I think we just silently had that same argument. We had that same kind of consensus like, hey guys, we don't know if this thing is gonna last, so let's just have fun. We need this one quick hoorah before things get real. I talked about how seasons are supposed to work. While the spring is meant for bloom, the summer is meant to frolic, the fall is meant to what? Remove things that no longer serve a purpose to make room for the next bloom. And so that's where I'm starting to think about and I'm excited about. So until next time, I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.